success I have in life is like, fucking doesn't really mean anything, right? The biggest problem I see in particular with men, successful men in particular, is ego.
At the end of the day, but why I'm doing this? Because I love my work, because I want to achieve that thing.
Welcome to another episode of The Shredder Show. Today we're going to go through natural bodybuilding, how to optimize travel for busy executives, and just general overall life hacks with Matteo Sciaudone. We were joking about how I had to pronounce his name before this.
Great to be here. Thank you, Charlie, for the possibility to speak with you.
How was the pronunciation?
That was great. We practiced for a while.
Times?
Yeah, 4 or 5 times. You know, Johnson is easy. It's too easy for me.
English names are easy to pronounce, Italian not so much. So for reference, where are you from, Matteo? I'm
Italian, and it's easy to pronounce Johnson for someone that is speaking English, at least. And in Italy, we don't usually speak a lot of English, but Italian is great nationality and a lot of great entrepreneurs coming from Italy in every field. And right now, even the fitness field is working great.
100%. And Matteo is one of the leading trainers in Italy. And he also, similar to myself, has a very interesting lifestyle, travels a lot, very well traveled. So the first thing we wanted to delve into is hacks in terms of optimizing travel so you don't fall apart. Because actually one of the interesting things that I've noticed, I'm like 10 years older than you, is that almost I think I get like travel anxiety for a start, but also my body doesn't really seem to like traveling so much anymore. What do you do to try and manage and mitigate this?
Well, the thing I truly believe is that the first thing that you should analyze in your life is the stress, because people usually try to eliminate stress in their life, avoid stress, but the truth is that stress is something that is physiological thing to have in your life. So what you need to learn is how to handle stress. That's completely different perspective. Once you understand that the way you travel needs to be a way that doesn't increase your stress levels too much. And in order to do that, you need to plan your travel, your business travel, for example, in order to have the possibility to track your food if it matters to you, to train if it matters to you, to keep some healthy habits during your business trip in the easiest way. Simple thing. Would be so easy if you would book a hotel, 5-star hotel, that doesn't have the best pool or spa, but rather has a good gym close there or inside the hotel. And the same for the breakfast. If you just have like a huge buffet breakfast, it's very easy to track your food for the rest of the day. To have some easy habits during the day, like to have a simple healthy snack, I don't know, some nuts, not to be sleepy during the whole day, to understand that that's a business travel and a business trip, and you don't need necessarily to follow the others drinking or eating whatever during the day. So the way you should, I think, see the trips is something changing in your life, and in order to keep on track to your goals, you need to make some adjustments. You said that something changed in the last 10 years. So the question I have for you is, what changed and what you felt that changed in the last 10 years?
That's a really good question. Firstly, I seem to have issues whenever I go to the airport. So I think I always have anxiety about check-in. So as soon as I'm checked in, I feel better, because I think I've had issues with, like, I don't know, I'll give an example. I booked a flight with Qatar, and they put my name on wrong and it wouldn't let me change it, and then I had to rebuy another flight and like loads of other stuff. I always seem to have problems at the airport, so I always have like some stress.
It's Johnson's surname.
Yeah, it's just
harder.
Right? And then I would say that's one. The other thing I notice, I tend to get a lot of digestive issues, which I now have. The biggest way I found to combat that, probably about 2 years ago, is ideally I will try and fast for flights and fast when traveling. The only problem is I travel to the US a lot. Dubai to the US is a very long way, and it's too far to fast often in one go. I can do it, but I start to almost like feel like I'm going to pass out. So if I'm going from like Dubai to London, is perfect, or to Europe, easy, or Dubai to Spain, Marbella is great. But longer trips, I start to eat. So for me, it's really just understanding, trying to minimize food intake whilst traveling, hydrating a lot. And one of the big hacks I found is taking a lot of electrolytes, like a really high amount, because I'm used to taking a lot of fluid and electrolytes in with Dubai and the heat.
Sure.
And then if I keep that balanced out, it makes a big difference.
Yeah, it's true, because with their aircon and new technologies they provide to keep fresh in the air, you get dehydrated during the time. So it's you don't feel it because you're not sweating, but you're losing a lot of water in any case, and you need to keep hydrated. And it's interesting also the thing that you said that you try not to eat during travelings, and it's the same thing I do actually. And what the majority of people then at the end ask you is like, but well, if I don't eat, I don't have the energy. And they don't understand like the body is almost perfect machine if you treat it properly, and your body is done to keep energy, to keep carbs, to keep everything in order to survive. And it's even better sometimes not to eat. It is a healthy fasting window in order for hormones and things.
I actually think one of the best things you can do is go prolonged periods without eating to give your gut time to like clear through. So for me, I'm inherently quite greedy with food. So if I'm at home, I'm not going to not eat for 12 or 18 hours. I can go to like 2-3 o'clock and just be busy with work or whatever, but I wouldn't not eat the entire day and fast. I don't think I've ever done that. But when traveling, it's quite easy because I'm busy and I'm like, I don't want to eat the plane food. I don't want to eat what's at the airport. So it's fine. And I think see it as an opportunity to try and give your body a bit of a reset.
Yeah, sure.
Because I almost find if I do a particularly long fast when traveling and drink loads of fluid, I have black coffee as well, my digestion the next day is fucking amazing. Like you feel great.
You get some time to rest and to regenerate during the time. I mean, like you're a pro bodybuilder, right? So for your enhanced pro bodybuilder, it means that your body is like more than an ordinary body. You're asking a lot from your body. So even the digestion, how many calories did you arrive to eat during your bodybuilding prep during bulking season? I remember you competed last year.
I was up to, I'm quite fortunate. I don't have to eat a lot. So it's like 5,000 calories. I went down to about 2,200. I think at one point 1,800, which was not fun. But I would say the big thing for me was I was having to eat quite frequently because I was just hungry all the time. And I think when you understand how to manage your hunger levels with like hydration is a big one, because one of the big issues is people, your body missignals like dehydration for hunger, and people end up eating when they actually need to drink, which is why one of the first things I recommend everyone does when they get up is like drink something with electrolytes in it just to replenish that overnight. And I'd also say not eating within the first 2 hours of waking up makes a big difference.
100% is a habit that I keep right now in Dubai. Usually wake up, just drink water, then work a little bit, then drink coffee, then work a little bit, then take a walk, work a little bit, and then I have my first meal during the day. And it's funny the thing that you said about dehydration, because the most frequent thing that I receive, the question that I receive from my clients is, what do I do when in the evening I come at the end of the day that I'm starving and I want to eat even after dinner if I already had food? And I say like, do you feel that in your mouth? Yeah, that's not hunger. You just completely dehydrated during the day. You just drank 1.5 liter of water during the day. Just try to drink, and trust me, the hunger is going to disappear, because it's just your body asking for some water intake to survive.
That's one of my favorite things to talk about. So I explain it to people as the danger zone. So it's like no one fucks up their diet at like 7 a.m, right? You're not going to be eating crap in the fridge at that time. But like 6 to 10 p.m. is where people screw up everything. So they can be perfect from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and they undo the entire thing. And I think when people learn to control that, it makes a big difference. And I'll give you a bit, I don't think I've ever spoken about this before. When I was competing last year, I was really struggling with like hunger cravings. I would literally I printed like 30 pages of like 30 days to the show, 29 days to the show, and I just keep changing them on the fridge. So every time I found myself like going to the fridge, like lurking around, I look at it and I think, oh, for fuck's sake, just like it's only 29 days. And I think that's an important thing to do in like controlling your environment. Another thing for me is that I can't have dark chocolate in my fridge, because if I have it in there, every time I open the fridge, I end up like eating some, and I'd be like 100-gram bars done in like 2 days. I'm like, well, that's like 600 calories just whoosh.
Yeah, that's 100% sure. Like the things that you keep at home are not helping you under a certain point of view. It doesn't mean that the solution to things is not to have, let's say, junk food home, because what people do is, yeah, I don't have junk food home 4 days a week, 5 days a week. But when I see junk food, I can eat it. That's not the way you handle your problems. Just you do more reps, not having the junk food at home, not eating that junk food every day. You're like, try to detox yourself. But yeah, the problem is not only that the window you say 5 p.m., 10 p.m., 6 p.m., 10 p.m. is also the Friday, Saturday evening. What do you recommend to your clients in order to?
So this is a really, really good thing to talk about. So what we tend to do is we're very strict in the week. And then Saturday night, we have what we call as like a free meal. So you can have whatever you want, but within reason. So like you go for a 3-course meal. You can have starter, main, dessert, but try and eat like vaguely sensibly, right? So it's not going to be like, I'm not going to go to the Cheesecake Factory and have the quesadillas, the what is it, like one of the big dishes that has like chicken and biscuits, like it's like 2,200 calories, and then have a cheesecake. If I was to do that, that's 5,000 calories in a go, right? That's your whole deficit for the week gone. But if I said to you, you could go there and you could have like the Thai chicken satay thing. You could have a fillet steak, and then you could share a cheesecake with your partner. It's probably 2,000 calories, maybe 1,800. Completely different conversation, yet you still enjoyed the experience.
100%. You need to know one thing: Italian pizza is completely different from American or UK pizza, and under the point of calories, it is even better because you don't have the plenty of cheese or fried things or French fries or pineapple. That's something that not possible to be seen. I even remember one story that you published some days ago about pineapple on the pizza. So under this point of view, if you keep the plain food, you made the example of Cheesecake Factory. A lot of Italians don't know what is Cheesecake Factory because there are not, I think, even in Italy, Cheesecake Factory. Yeah. So if you like do all this food porn, that is I feel like it's a vibe of the last 3, 4, 5 years. That's a vibe that's not actually helping at all the people that want to keep a good diet, healthy habits, because it's like extreme of food intake, and it's simply something that body is not used for, right?
I tell you also something that's weird. I don't know if you've seen this. Like my partner does this sometimes. She'll watch people doing like food challenges like whilst doing cardio. I'm like, what? Like, why would you want to watch people eating loads of food? Or like people like doing stuff like that. For me, like I don't want to see like junk food on my Instagram Explore feed or wherever. And I think again that comes to like controlling the information that comes into your brain, because you're almost like signaling to your body that you want that all the time. The main
YouTubers in Italy are doing fitness challenges right now. The highest views that you see on YouTube channels right now are fitness challenges.
Eating ones.
Yeah, sorry, eating challenges. Like they try to eat as much as they can, and like 10,000 calories challenge, 20,000 calories challenge, 50,000 calories challenge. And it is so weird that because in Italy we have so much the culture of the food, of the tasty food, it ends up by overeating and basing your whole life based on food. A lot of people have eating disorders, not because they were born like this, but because, as you say, they don't control the informations that they receive. They get used to something that the body is not done for.
And I think that's one of the important things to control with your environment. And it's actually, when you look at traveling as well, with like as an executive, one of the things to understand is that if you look at one of the things that people struggle with is jet lag and going across different time zones. Your body only knows what time of day it is based upon 2 things. One is whether it's the sun's in the sky or not, and 2 is eating. So like one of the secrets of like having less of an issue with jet lag is eat to the time zone you're going to and try and get into that routine as quickly as possible. So like don't be eating an equivalent of like their 3-4 a.m. in the morning, because it can completely screw everything up.
I even recommend some executives or entrepreneurs I'm working with, try to stay awakened and adapt as soon as 100%. Possible to the time zone where you're currently going to. Like if in that place right now is daytime and in your time zone is late night, don't worry, just try to be awakened and try to resist as much as you can in order to get adapted to the time zone you're arriving to, because that's the best thing that you can do to avoid the jet lag problems. And the fact that they don't get used to jet lag problems is also because they take, for example, naps during the day. You feel so destroyed after a long business trip. And the problem is that your metabolism and your hormones during the day are even adapting to your circadian rhythm, right? So it's very important to control it in a way that is easy for your body to stay on track.
And I'd actually say, I think I quite like going from east to west, so from Europe or Dubai to the US, because you get there, you just stay up late. You'll invariably wake up the next day at like 4 or 5 a.m. But I quite like that because you feel like really productive, right? It's when you come back
that's destroyed.
Like I remember
you lose a lot of time, right?
Like I remember coming back from
Vegas was right.
Yeah, Vegas. But I remember coming back from Miami to Vegas is a better example. I remember coming back from Vegas to Dubai. It's like a 12-hour time difference. And literally, I think I got in at like 2 a.m. I think I woke up the next day at like 12, like midday. I was like, what the fuck? Like, it's wild. And it takes you a while to get out of that rhythm. But I would say you can get back, you just need to get back into a routine very quickly, which is to come firstly to your food and what time you try and go to sleep.
I'm curious to see your feedback that you're a pro bodybuilder. What do you think? And also majority of your clients is training in the gym. What do you think during business trips is something good or not to keep consistent, even if you have just 30-20 minutes a day cardio, completely body weight training in order to move your body even during these trips, or is not that useful? Because a lot of clients say like, well, I feel like without training in the gym I cannot gain good results, but I feel, and my experience is based on the fact that the most important thing is the consistency. So if you even keep moving your body is great.
I agree 100%. So I'd say 95% of people listening to this, their main issue is going to be body fat levels, right? So like
100%.
I'll use myself as an example. I might be going to Istanbul next weekend for 4 days. I've got an event on the Saturday and the Sunday. I won't be able to train. I don't like training on days and I'm flying because it just messes me up, and I'd rather be like actually can train properly. So in that instance, I would probably just do some cardiovascular work just for like get your body moving around. And I would give the same advice to executives as well, because one of the big things that happens is like people, and I've done this, I remember it's just really fucking stupid. I remember being younger, getting off a flight from Spain, Marbella, and like 3 hours later going to the gym because I got a train. It's like chest day on Monday or whatever it was. And the reality is that like, yeah, it's like cool that you can go and do that and you're disciplined, but there's an element of like working smart versus working hard, and you have to understand it's not a game of who can train the hardest, who can recover the most. Because if your body's like run down big time and you're just running into the ground even more, you're going to struggle even more to lose weight, and your body's going to be super catabolic in terms of losing muscle tissue. So
100%.
It's actually important sometimes. Like I actually think I get better results training less. So I'd actually say from experience, the more relaxed I am with like, oh fuck it, it's 4 days, I can't weight train, I'll just do some cardio, do some steps, be mindful of what I'm eating, I end up actually losing more body fat probably doing that.
I think the goal should be not to have the highest volume as possible, but the highest results with the less effort, right? Not work hard, work smart.
The minimal effective dose, right? And
exactly,
that's what comes with the ability of like learning the skill to train, because as you get better at training, you have to do a lot less. So like I do a lot less now than I used to. I'm only training 4 days a week, but my ability to like get more out of what I'm doing is much higher, and I'm also stronger. And you'll find the more you progress, the less you need to do anyway, because the amount of volume of like, if you look at like the amount of kilos of weight you're using or pounds is increasing. So you don't need as many sets, which means like for any executive listening to this, you can build a killer physique in 2 to 3 workouts a week. Like
that's 100% sure. And that workout doesn't need to be 2-3 hours. It can be 45 minutes. Yeah. 100%. That's how I'm training right now. I mean, last time we trained legs and killed me, but like we took 1 hour and a half because we were speaking about everything else. Yeah. But if we would be completely 100% focused on that, would be less than an hour, I guess.
Yeah, if I train on my own, it takes me maybe 50 minutes. If I train with someone else, it's longer because you're obviously going to talk. But I actually quite like that because it slows me down. And the longer the rest I get between sets, I get way more out of it in terms of from a strength output point of view. But I'm inherently really patient, so I'm not going to like sit around for 2-3 minutes and wait. Like if I feel good, I'll just go.
Related to what you said before, work smart. I always say to executives, I say like, guys, do the things that you usually can do moving your body, actually doing it instead, rather than sitting on the chair. Like, you're sending messages, you're having a phone call, you're just thinking. Just move your body in that moment. Take a walk. Literally, you're on a call for 1 hour. In that hour, you could do the 10,000 steps for the whole day and be okay for the rest of your day. So there is actually no reason. I mean, if it's the closer call of your entire career, maybe you should do this on the chair, but rather than walking in the park. But the other calls you could simply do on moving your body.
And I think this is what's interesting. I don't know why it made me think of this. Like, when I was younger, like 15, I remember running with a CD player. You wouldn't have had one of those. Like an actual CD player that was like too big to fit in my pocket. And now we have the ability to like walk around with this device that's like a supercomputer that can do anything. It's actually really easy to be in shape because you can keep yourself occupied at the same time, right?
Super easy, and it seems to be very stupid advice, but to me and my clients' experience was really valuable. The average TV show they usually watch when you chill out, just take a Cyclade and begin to move your body while watching the TV show, very slowly, very easy. If you didn't move your body during the whole day, it costs 300 euros. Is nothing for someone earning millions a year, but actually can increase the lifetime value you have of your own life a lot.
And it's the compound effect of the small decisions and what will determine the outcome of your life. How long you live, how you look, how people look at you, like, and that's all down to your own conscious choice and the actions you decide to take or not take. And I think what's really important is that a lot of people don't understand that not making a decision is actually making a decision. So like,
not to move is a decision. It is not to move, right? Actually,
and
I agree.
You're shooting yourself in the foot with your own indecisiveness.
I have a question for you based on your experience. What do you think after how many years of coaching, mate?
I qualified as a personal trainer like 16 years ago, but
16 years.
Online maybe like 7 or 8.
But even person 16 years ago,
yeah.
Right? So in 16 years of experience, did you find an answer to the question, how it's possible that this person is fucking making millions a year, has a great family, he managed to create a life that 99% of people in the world are fucking not able to create, but he still cannot stay in shape, lose that belly fat, and have a healthy relationship with food and trainings? Do you have an answer to this question or what?
I know what the problem is, and you hit the nail on the head with it because you touched on it. Emotional issues with food. So these are deep lying issues within that people are reaching out to food as like dopamine hits or like a drug of like, I've had a shit day, I need to drink a bottle of wine. I've had a shit day, I need to eat some chocolate. And I think that's where those people need people like me and you more than ever, because we can be brutally honest with them to set them straight. Because one of the big things people need, in particular if they're successful, is when they get momentum and they see progress, like, oh shit. Like my entire life changed when I got in like really good shape when I was about 25 and I got someone to coach me, and I was like, okay, so all I have to do is just do what they tell me to do and I get a really good result. I was like, this is really easy. It's like, what else can I apply this to, right? And I think when you start to connect the dots like that, and the guy who's got loads of money and got the perfect life other than his health suddenly realizes that he has to take extreme ownership of that situation, and then the only way to actually get out of that is to reach out to someone for help and accountability. Once he does that and he starts and he sees the first bit of progress, that's like everything changes.
Game changer. And related to this, I truly believe that the fact that people are not able to control their like food intake is even related to the fact that the past generation of self-made entrepreneurs and successful managers and business people, generally speaking, has the perspective that food is something like to show the results of their hard work. Right now, the new generation doesn't feel this way. Like the new generation is more like, oh well, yeah, I'm rich, I need to invest in my health. But before it was like, yeah, fuck, I did what my family in the old generation didn't manage to do. The way I release my attention and show off my success is actually, for example, buying luxury food and going out to have dinner, a very expensive dinner every day. I don't know if in the UK or US culture you felt the same vibe.
I think the culture I see there is that people almost still have a World War II mentality. It sounds weird, but in terms of like, don't let food go to waste. So, for example, like, I'll give an example. My girlfriend bought me some flowers the other day. Not that I like flowers particularly, but they were nice. And I used to just that.
My girlfriend would be laughing right now because we spoke about the fact that I'm not really used to give flowers. Yeah. So she's like, well, I will begin to give to you in order.
and with the flowers came like this cake, and it was a Hermes cake. It looked pretty cool. And I was like, I don't really want the fucking cake. So I was like, after like 3 days of a bit of nagging, I was like, I'll try a bit of the cake. Cake wasn't very nice. And I was like, the old generation of people from like Europe, US would be like, you need to eat the fucking whole thing. I was like, I don't want the cake. I didn't want it in the first place. He just came with it for free. So then we just threw it away. But and yes, that may well be wasteful, but then what is, A, I didn't order it, B, I don't want it, so why would you eat it for the sake of it? And I think it's also an important thing to understand is that you don't have to finish everything on your plate. Like if you go to a restaurant or wherever and it's given to you, like just because it's there, it doesn't mean you have to eat it.
And even don't get it for, like, I mean, you're a CEO, you're a manager, you're a lawyer, you're trying to run your own life and you're afraid, for example, at the restaurant, just to ask, please just put the oil on the side, or just don't cook with butter, or simply, do you have something that is not deep fried? Really? Or maybe you just don't want to. Maybe that's the true reason.
I think, I don't know, Italy's the same, so I'll give you an example. You've been to Spain. Have you been to Marbella?
Yeah.
Okay, so the Spanish are incredibly difficult. If you say to them, like, I don't want this, they look at you like you've shot their dog, right? They'll be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? So they're very challenging in terms of, like, if you try and change anything. Where if you go to, like, the US, they're so accommodating, or here as well, in terms of, like, they'll do it exactly how you want. Like, if you, not that you necessarily ask for a plain chicken breast, but if you asked for whatever, they would give it to you. Whereas if you go to some European countries, they're like,
just go to French.
Yeah, France.
For France, yeah. Just go to Paris.
They won't do it.
Yeah, and ask something without butter. I think they're gonna literally kill you. Literally, it's something so UK. Yeah. UK, actually.
UK's a bit better.
Yeah.
A bit better. Probably US influence.
Yeah. That's super. Which is the ultimate advice that you would give to father that has decent family, great family, I would say, a great career, and the unique struggle that he has is to stay on track with his own health. He always prioritized the family, the results of the career, the business part, and never himself. Okay,
so do you want to see your children get married? Here's a good story. So I remember sitting on a flight, I can't remember what it was, maybe to Dubai, and I remember the guy sitting next to me, you start talking to each other, and he's like, well, he told me what he did, and he worked, his job was like building and selling super yachts. I was like, okay, you're interesting to talk to, so I'll talk to you. And then obviously talked about what I did. He said, I really struggle in terms of fitness, going to the gym and eating healthy. What's one thing you could say to me that would change my perspective? And he'd already told me he had 2 daughters. Like, would you like to still be alive when your daughter gets married? And he's like, you fucker. Because that's the thing, right? Because what's the biggest pain point for anyone, particularly for a man, is going to be providing for your children and providing for your wife, right? And you also want to be the father your children look up to, because I know I would want to be like the Superman that like my kids would look up to and be proud of. No one wants to be the fat dad in the car park who's at the sports game or whatever, right? You'd want your parents to be like, yeah, that's my dad, he's jacked, he does X, Y, Z, like that's cool. And you also have to understand, if you're a father as well, who do your children mirror? You. So if you've got really bad habits and you're out of shape,
100% children are going to do that. 100%.
I'll give an example. I remember, and it actually was like, used to fucking upset me, and not upset me, but it was just really sad. My ex-wife's family, there was a relative, and the parents were overweight and like had really bad lifestyle, and their son ends up the same. So like man titties, especially like 14, 15, and you know, like the kid's fucked from the beginning, and it's not his fault, it's just he doesn't know any better. And that's what I say to people, is like, your duty as a parent is to like give your children the right advice and guidance. And if you don't know how to do that for yourself, how are you going to do that for them? And that's not a sales pitch for me and you, but it's like, find someone to teach you and show you So then you can also pass that on to your children.
But why then this busy executive that pays, I don't know, they're paying 3,000 euros for a flight to Dubai would pay for a bullshit app for $99 a month in order to get in shape? Like, how it's possible that a person so smart is finding so, I would say, stupid solution to this problem?
Because no one has explained to them the value yet of, like, for example, I would say statistically we could add 7 years to someone's life. What's that worth? $1,000. So our program will be worth $7,000. I'd pay $1,000 for an extra year of my life, like fucking way more. And when you start to think in that perspective, it's just they don't understand yet really what the game is and how to solve the problem. They might be partially problem aware, but the problem is most people, they stick their head in the sand and they're like,
better not to know, better not to realize the problem.
And that's why people don't get blood tested, they don't get tested for cancer, they don't have ECGs, because people don't want to know. Whereas I'd rather be proactive, like I have blood work done all the time, I had ECGs, all that type of stuff to know, like, if there is a problem, I can try and catch it early and deal with it early proactively rather than later on. Because imagine, I'll give another example. I had another family member who unfortunately passed away from breast cancer, and she had been kicking the can down the road. She knew she had an issue for 6 to 9 months, didn't say anything to anyone. And then by the time it got to stage, it got like investigated, it was far too gone. And that is quite a harrowing story, but it's true for anyone here who's listening to that. And I remember going to a hospice, which is where like people pass away in the UK, going to see her, and I was like, that's never fucking happening to me, and I don't want that to happen to anyone else.
That's super good story. And I think that to resume what you said is just to see the reason why you should do this is going to give you the strength in order to do this. The reason why you keep working, and even when it's hard day, it seems like the world is ending, you still continue to work and achieve results, because you see at the end of the day, but why I'm doing this? Because I love my work, because I want to achieve that thing, because I want to show to myself something. And as you said, even in your fitness journey, the truth is that you need always to remember the true reason why you would do something like that, even if it's hard, even if it's not going to be easy path. That's going to give you the strength in order to do that and keep going. And that's at the end of the day. And if you're not able to stay on track just by yourself, just ask for help. Ask for anything else that you would do. You don't know when it's going to be an appointment. You're just going to ask your secretary, right? You don't know how to run paid ads. You're going to ask for how to run paid ads. You don't know how to do marketing strategy. You're going to ask your marketer. The same thing, just you don't know how to take care of something that important as your health that is going to influence the time that you're going to stay in this world. Just ask for help.
Something I'd also say I'd be very careful of as well is who you ask for help from. And the honest truth of this is we have a lot of doctors we work with who are on our program to lose weight. Now, that's where I say you going to your doctor isn't the right solution, because a lot of them will try. The medical society is a Ponzi scheme of pushing drugs, hence why we now have weight loss drugs like Mounjaro, which suppresses your appetite, and that's a plaster over the problem, right? So, and that's no dig at medical professionals. We have some amazing doctors who are clients, but the reality is that they aren't giving much training in terms of actual nutrition, and the difference between theory and practice is also very different, like we've spoken about already in this podcast. How do you actually apply the right method to an individual psychology so they can stick to it and actually get the results? Because adherence is what achieves weight loss.
I will give you an interesting insight. In Italy, if you're not a nutritionist, you cannot give nutritional tips. And it's funny to see that the same nutritionist that gave tips to people are overweight, obese. They die because of obesity. They develop diabetes. And then you say, like, are you ever gonna give $1 million to someone that never did, like, in order to invest your $1 million? That's someone that never invested $1 million, never did $1 million, and never had $1 million to invest? I think no. Then why you should ever go to dietitian that is overweight, obese, has some issues? He's not able to control his own relationship with food, and this interesting perspective. But in Italy, if you're not a nutritionist, you cannot give nutritional tips. That's why I needed, for example, to have some professionals, nutritionists in my team, but at least are not professionals that share their same perspective of the client and say, before telling something to my clients, I actually need to know how to apply the same thing to my life.
And that's a theory versus application and practice of advice. And it's like, you don't want people who are just theorists, you want people who actually practice, right? And that's why I'm so transparent with everything in terms of people who need to practice what they preach, because why should you listen to anyone then otherwise?
100% sure. 100% agree. And I just want to have your feedback under this point of view. How do you think that enhanced bodybuilding has changed the perspective of people in order to what is achievable naturally or not? Because this is hot team in Italy right now. Every super good fitness influencer is saying natural bodybuilder. I'm 100% natural. Yeah, they took 30 kg in 1 year, but they're 100% natural. And the young guys are saying like, well, fuck, I will achieve that body shape. Or the opposite problem, that you work your ass off for 3-4 years, you achieve amazing results, and people are like, you're bullshit teller. No one will ever achieve that body shape naturally.
My opinion is the easy giveaways, you look at people's body weight, because how many natural bodybuilders are over a certain, probably over 85 kilos in good shape? Probably not many. So if someone's plus that, it's going to be questionable. And if someone's gained a lot of weight in a year, like naturally, I wouldn't say it's possible for someone to gain more than 2 kilos in a year. I'd say
2 kilos?
I'd say that's like, that would be a fucking push. I think
specifically after 35.
Yeah, well, after 35, it's not going to happen. Like
when you're young, you can do
like,
5.
It's like out of the gate, if you're 18 and you start training, you put on 4 or 5 kilos in a year.
Yeah.
But like if you're 30 plus, like your hormonal profile is going down anyway, you're fighting a bit of a losing battle on that respect. So I think anyone beyond that spectrum, it's not a good idea. And I think for men who are over 30 or even younger, I would always recommend people get their blood tested, because you might have underlying issues you don't even know about. So one of the things that's happening rapidly in the modern world at the moment is like rapidly deteriorating levels of testosterone in men, a lot because of external environment, pollutions in water, food. Like there's actually like the fluoride and stuff they put in water actually has issues. High stress levels, we don't actually active enough, we don't go out in sunlight, particularly in like Northern Europe.
Sure.
So a lot of people have underlying issues they don't understand here. So that would be worth having checked. And then if you have got an issue, have a conversation with a doctor in regards to maybe having that replaced if it is a real problem.
I just have a last question for you, mate. Can we say that you're one of the first online coaching and most famous coaches online, right? So for USA and Canadians for sure. So which perspective would you give to anyone listening to this conversation right now? Why do you think, after knowing each other for a while and training together and sharing some thoughts, why do you think my coaching method can truly help someone to change their life?
1, because you've done it yourself. 2, you taught other people to do it. And that for me is like everything. If highest level authority of anything is you've done the thing, you've helped other people do the other thing. Because you can do it, you can teach it. And then that's then just the other person actually being willing to be like, help me. And the biggest problem I see in particular with men, successful men in particular, is ego. I'm good. I've got fucking loads of money. I've got a family. I've got a sick car. I've got a big house. It's like, but it's all a facade. And like, I even see that now, the more success I have in life is like, fucking doesn't really mean anything, right? It's like, buy a new car. Like, okay, it's cool. Like, not that bothered. But like, if you could add another 10 years to your life and you're with your family for another 10 years, when you're 70 years old, like that's going to fucking mean a lot, right? You can see your grandkids, like, or you've already got health issues and you're like, you could end up dying at 50 because of a heart attack. Like that's a big thing. And I think that's what people should understand, how you can change their life, how I can change their life, because everyone wants to kick the can down the road until they can't kick the can down the road anymore. And then they need to fucking address the problem. The problem is then it's too late. So you need to address the problem now before it gets too big.
But because you're able to understand the needs of your clients and truly understand their perspective, how do you think it's important for a coach to understand the perspective of the client. Actually, how can a client understand if the coach is truly understanding their needs or is just applying scientific-based studies?
The most important thing I'd say from a coach, similar to sales, is 2 ears, 1 mouth. So ask questions and shut up. Let them talk.
Just listen and understand.
What do they need? What do they want? And what you want to do, same as sales, is like you sell them what they want and give them what they need. So like you wrap up things in like a disguise almost. Because if you told someone, and I think the most important thing is understanding human psychology, right? So like when it comes to weight loss and getting in shape, quick wins are the most important thing. And I personally, we will over diet people a little bit at the beginning to get quick weight loss. People are like, fucking shit, this is working. Because then they believe and then it works. And then you can take the calories back up a bit. But if you go by like, well, we don't want to take the calories under a certain amount because of XY calculation, and then they don't lose weight in the first week,
they give up.
They're out. They're done. They're like, this doesn't fucking work. I don't want to change my life. I don't want to do this anymore. Whereas if they're like, holy shit, I've lost 2 kilos this week, like they're in. And that's where you have to understand human psychology versus like textbook theory. It's like, yeah, textbook theory is hypothetically optimal, but we're not dealing with robots. We're dealing with emotional creatures, which human beings are.
People sell to people, and people buy from people, and people ask from help from people. So that's at the end the true and most important thing.
Yeah, and I think from a coaching perspective, the most important thing is understanding what makes most people tick. And I'd also say, what I'm about to bring up now is really important. Your coach should have a coach. I have a coach. I know you have a coach because you told me the other day.
Yeah, sure, 100%.
And your coach should understand how to manage different people based upon their psychology. So like the guy who coaches me is amazing, and he had a check-in process that was like 45 minutes. I told you, I was like, this is stressing me the fuck out. I didn't tell that, but he just knew, because I wasn't filling a lot of it in, because it was like, I don't want to put down what time I went for a shit. I don't really care. And I've got more than enough other stuff to think about. So now I just do like 4 questions on an email and send in my photos, and like, we're good. Like, and that's where you just need to understand the client.
You would say a coach that doesn't have a coach is actually not a good coach, right?
Well, no, because they're not looking to expand their knowledge and improve. So like the moment you think you know everything in life, you know fucking nothing. And you should never work with anyone who's not growth minded in any aspect of your life, because yeah, I know a lot about fitness, but I don't know everything in every specific niche. I know a lot about business, but I don't know everything in every specific niche.
And you know that your own perspective is not always the true perspective,
yeah,
right?
It's the perspective you've experienced thus far. And there's always further levels, right?
100% sure.
What would be the number one piece of advice you'd give to executives sitting on the fence?
I would say that the first tip I would really give is you decided to work and live a life in the pro league. Actually, that's a choice that you did. Then act to do that. And in order to do that, the main fields that you should work on are your brain, already doing that, because 100% sure their executives are still studying, learning, and trying to apply their things that are learning in their career. But a lot of them are not truly dealing with their body shape, with their physique. And the truth is that is a gun that they have, is a car that they have. They're not using it. So they should just truly 100% take 1%, 2%, 3% of their earnings and say, as much as I take, 3-4%, I personally take 10% of my income and I invest in my personal knowledge. It's a sort of investment that I do for myself. So I would say, as much as you do for your own knowledge, take 2-3% and do this for your health. It could be simply, investing in a coach, as you said, but it can be like taking part into specific blood test analysis, or it could be to take part of fitness events. It could be to apply some new strategies during the day in order to optimize your time. There are a lot of stuff during the day, like invest in the best food that you can actually have. It's a true investment that you're not thinking about. So the main tips I would give is take 1, 2, 3, decide yourself % of your own income and say, I need to fucking spend every year this money because it's an investment on the most valuable thing that I have, myself.
And I think that's a perspective most people don't understand. Thank you for your time, Matteo. How can people find out more about you?
I don't know if I can leave here my IG channel and TikTok channel and YouTube channel. Why not?
I'll put it in the description.
And it has been a pleasure to be here. Charlie is a really great coach, and it's always great to keep in touch with great coaches and great people that share with you the same values.
100%. If we get enough feedback, we'll get Matteo back on this. I'm sure we will, because it's been a really good conversation. If you guys enjoy this, make sure you share it with a friend. It would mean a huge amount to me. And leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. And we'll see you next episode very soon.